Hi, Matt here, and I will never understand how people got addicted to this horse girl racing game. Okay, maybe just one more race. The Game Awards, a prestigious event where game developers all around the world are given their golden laurels for their hardships in bringing the best art form of the 21st century. From the boundless ideas of releasing unfinished games that sell for $70, basic game features hidden behind microtransactions, and breaking all sales records, then immediately firing the people who actually work for it. But somehow, in some mystical way, mobile game developers are still seen as a second class, despite the CISOs who are obviously ruining the gaming industry. Hence why I believe that the best mobile game of the year isn't just a sideshow in TGA, but rather it acknowledges a game so brilliant that it managed to run on mobile phones. And I'm not gonna lie, I used to be a snub too, and I thought that mobile gaming are for goons who can't turn on a PC or too poor to buy a console. But after trying a mobile game for the first time, I was shocked by how different it is now when compared to Fluffy Bird of old. And what really blew my expectation was none other than Persona 5, the Phantom X. I know. P5X is actually seen as the unfavorable one to win the best mobile game in the Game Awards. However, I'm here to prove to you that P5X actually has a shot at winning this category. But before that though, if you're excited for this year's The Game Awards and whatever Cory Balrog has in store, then like this video and join Otaka Define for more Persona content. Persona 5 The Phantom X deserves to win the best mobile game in TGA 2025. And I know most of you would call me crazy and biased since Persona is my favorite IP, but hear me out. While I know P5X is seen as the least possible winner among its competition because of the following reasons. One, we've talked about this multiple times now, but P5X's first chapter is mediocre at best. Kyuchi, the subway slumber, despite his popularity, isn't enough to bring home the medal. Second, P5X's launch was successful, but the next update was met with a lot of criticisms. And this is because of SEGA's complete misunderstanding of the gacha market, making questionable decisions after questionable decisions, such as designing the game for lower meta-jewel earnings that are used to pull per characters, not giving players compensation for watching streams and updating the game, which is a standard for most gacha titles. P5X Global even has missing events that made rewards more scarce than ever. And the biggest sin of all is the 6-month jail time for future 5-star Phantom idols. To this day, fans are still hoarding their standard contracts, hoping that Marian will soon be included. This even resulted to Lupul's plan being changed in the global to make sure Marian's copy and weapon are excluded, which drove the fans crazy and left the game. They were just hoping that P5X can satiate their hunger for a new mothership Persona title. Instead, they are now blaming P5X as one of the main reasons why Persona 6 keeps getting delayed, since a part of P Studio are busy trying to make this gacha game work. And it's not helping it one bit that there's this awful stigma against gacha titles. While I agree that it psychologically preys on people's gambling tendencies, gacha games actually came around now and became more player-friendly, just ask the WoWa guy. Which brings us to our last reason why people dismiss P5X in winning Best Mobile Game of the Year. The competition is tough. Sonic Rumble, which is a fun game, and I can see why SEGA bought Robio or the Angry Birds developers because they really know how to design a game that you'll play for hours. Just ignore the fact that it's a Fall Guys clone. Speaking of addicting games, Uma Musume is probably the winning bet to win this award. Gamers around the world thought that this title is just horsing around. Well, yes, it sure is, but it proved itself by instilling something that every millennials and Gen Zs have been missing all throughout their lives: parenting. And no surprise here, Wuwa is in the category again, which you will always hear from them as Wuwa fans will bring it up every time they spot a Genshin discussion. Despite Wuwa's rocky launch, it's really making its stride as the premium mobile game experience. And this is why we cannot count P5X out of the competition. Because despite its missteps in the beginning, from the campy story of the subway llama, SEGA overestimating gamers' patience, and whatever this is, P5X more than deserves to win Best Mobile Game in the Game Awards 2025. And the biggest reason is that the story is so damn amazing. Chapter 3 so far is cementing itself as the main pull and stay to play P5X. Yusuke and his team outdone themselves and stayed true to their word that they'll tell a story that will separate P5X from the shadow of Persona 5. The man hated the Subway Slammer story so much that he really did everything he could to make sure a Persona title will always have a good story. What's more is that Chapter 3 isn't finished yet, and we're about to see the second half of this captivating arc. But if you want to hear something crazier, Chapter 4 over at the Asia region is now being lauded by the players to be even better. They even said that the quality of storytelling is now surpassing what Persona 5 Royal did. Now, it might just be recency bias, but P5X is going strong and global, so will eventually arrive at that part as well. You might say that the story isn't the deciding factor to win an award, but if you compare P5X's story, and yes, even the Subway Slammer, it's actually a ton better than what is being presented by other mobile and gacha games. Just look at how ZZZ that has AAA production is suffering because of its disoriented and repetitive storytelling. P5X doesn't just have a good story, but its gameplay is also refined that gave a sense that you're playing an actual Persona game, but for free, and it actually works on your phone. Of course, the biggest question still is that P5X is a gacha game, and those types of games shouldn't be awarded for how scummy they can get. However, SEGA has finally come around, and their team has done a lot of things to reverse their mistake from the game's initial month, giving 10 free pulls as an apology. Then they continually gave players compensation for watching streams and updating the game, a free cognitype or copy of the player's choosing to increase the awareness of 5-star characters, including premium ones like Joker. There's also a 5-star weapon selector that includes Marian, who was stuck in jail. Then there's the early introduction of the 110 banner that 100% guarantees the player to get the most wanted Phantom Idol, and even increasing its odds from Asians 0.2%, where it is now 0.4% in the global region. I haven't even mentioned what the Asian region has done with their gacha system, because right now they've introduced the SP forms of Luce and Soy. Not only did 5-star Luce set a new record for the highest damage, but pulling for either one of their new forms will grant you the other for free. Yep, Luce and Soy are basically a buy one get one deal. And it doesn't stop there because their weapons are also bundled. P5X Asia also introduced a guaranteed weapon banner. The question is, will this kind of generosity also come in P5X Global? Absolutely, as SEGA cannot commit the same mistakes again. They now learn that P5X thrives in being this generous gacha game. SEGA cannot fumble the image of one of their biggest IP next to Sonic and Yakuza. But who knows, I'm just happy that my favorite gacha game is nominated. And how about you guys? Which game do you think will win? And I'm sure that we're more invested in the GOTY, but come on, it's definitely going to Expedition 33, since they'll just parry every other competitor. Speaking of who deserves a W, Ichiban needs to have a better treatment in Yakuza games. But so far, it seems like RGG Studio is focusing more on Kiryu again. If you're curious why, then check this video out. Join Ahhh the Find for more Persona content. This is Math, and stay awesome, my dudes.